On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about On Circles by Caspian. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Cale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it, but we also like things in music that are not metal. And we like to take some time every couple of months to give a shout out to the things we listen to that are not metal.
Hey, what was the first podcast that I was on with you?
That was a Converge episode.
And when was it? Do you remember?
Was it today?
It was September of 2018.
Well, hey, 2 years hanging out in this room.
Indeed.
With the sun in our eyes.
Well, it's not in your eyes at this juncture, but
it depends on where I put my head right now.
That's what she said.
2 years in this here room.
Yeah,
Hell
right.
yeah. We've not been allowed to leave.
When we say 2 years in this room, it's been 2 years in this room.
I've seen online people talking about quarantine, and I really want them to quit complaining because they don't know what it's like.
I know for us, there's no toilet in here. Just for the record,
We have to poop out the window. My neighbors are not happy.
They're furious.
We're in here by choice, by the way.
There's no locked door.
Yeah, the door's unlocked. We could leave at any time, but we just choose to stay and keep doing this.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. How you doing? What's up?
Not too bad. Pulled up the garden. What else happened? My wife got her gallbladder out.
Yeah.
That was today.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
You told me about that. I don't know why I said I heard about that. I was there when you left to go pick her up.
Right.
It's not like I heard through the grapevine that it was a secret that your wife got her gallbladder removed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was funny. And I got there and I got all my work set up so it would be ready for me to knock down when I got back to work.
Yep.
And I got her in the door and I barely got her into bed and surrounded her in pillows and brought her some crackers and all sorts of stuff. We talked about it and she got her meds there and some water with ice in it. And Kelly sent me a text message saying, "Why would you come back? Don't come back.
Stay home."
Yeah, so I sent her a message. Okay, I got to do this, and this. Bye, thank you.
These things to get done.
Yeah.
See you later. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
that's always nice when someone else tells you to stay home.
Yeah.
That just takes away any of the stress of having to.
Can I stay home?
I don't want to go back to work.
Yeah.
Takes away some of that.
Yeah.
How was your Labor Day?
Labor Day was good. Did very little. It was cold here. I mean, it was weird because everywhere else in the nation, they're like, it's hot. It's, 120 degrees in California, and it's fucking 55 degrees here.
Meanwhile, in the Rockies and in the upper Midwest, snow.
Yeah.
It's mostly in the Rockies for the snow.
But then they have a 70-degree drop in temperature in 24 hours.
Something like that.
I think we still hold the record in it's Granville, North Dakota.
I thought the record for the biggest temperature drop was South Dakota. Wasn't there a place in South Dakota where there was like a 90-degree temperature difference over the course of like 4 hours?
In the 24, I know that at one point Granville had a 100-degree temperature difference in 24 hours.
My God.
Yeah.
The thing that I remember hearing about that happened in South Dakota was so sudden that windows shattered. Like the change in air pressure was so dramatic that it broke windows. Because of the temperature.
Wow.
It was, I don't feel like looking it up right now. It's just a thing I heard about. Sometimes it's fun to just say things you heard about and not verify them.
And here's the thing here's another old guy story for you, Cale.
All right.
Back when I was a kid, there was no way to verify shit. So we just said a thing and nobody could look it up.
You just had to accept that sometimes people know things.
Right. Yeah,
that must be strange.
In retrospect, I try to remember all the stupid things that I myself, passed on as a child. Yeah. I heard this,
Well, it's like, was it the comedian? Oh no, I can't. Tom Segura's dad telling him that. Which actor was it? Like Bruce Willis was gay or something?
It was from Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones.
His dad telling him that Tommy Lee Jones was gay.
Yeah, and he told everybody that shit for decades. Tommy Lee Jones, he's gay, you know.
No, he's not.
I've known Tommy Lee Jones for decades.
Dad, why would you tell me that Tommy Lee Jones was gay?
I don't know.
Oh God, yeah. I feel like there's probably been some things but I grew up in the age of the internet, so I guess there was easy enough for me to say some shit and someone to be like, I'm gonna check on that.
Sure.
So I feel like I generally give fairly accurate information,
right?
But I don't know. I'm kind of a moron. So
and you know, it's funny. A lot of people blame the internet for disseminating false information.
The good stuff is there. People just choose to look at the wrong stuff.
Right. I mean, like, you know, when I was a kid there in Southern California, you know, it's like, as a matter of fact, black people are criminals. You know, you hear shit like that, and I don't know how to refute what you just said.
How do I look up things to? Yeah. Good God.
Yeah. I don't know how to do that. There wasn't a way to do that.
And especially when you're a kid too, and you haven't read books and absorbed media and traveled the world or at least you haven't traveled the world and absorbed other cultures and truly like gotten to understand other cultures. If you're a kid who's able to do that, God damn, you're one even cultured child.
Yeah,
but like
back in the 1970s.
I mean, many people have said that travel is kind of the ultimate way of proving those sort of notions wrong. Generally, is just actually go to places and talk to people and see things. Yeah, kill them. Yep, yep. That's how it's done.
My mom had that shirt.
Go to exotic places.
Join the U.S. military. See new exotic places, meet foreign people,
and kill them. There's a line like that in Full Metal Jacket, isn't there?
I think so, yeah.
Along the lines of like, I wanted to be the first kid on my street to get a confirmed kill. That movie's so fucked up.
It is.
I went to, speaking of like political stuff, I went to the lake on Friday, and not Friday, Saturday. I keep on thinking that we had Friday off.
We had Monday off.
We had Monday off. I went to the lake on Saturday, and it was warmer that day. It got up to mid 80s. Sure. By Monday, it was down to the mid 50s.
Yeah.
But it was nice on Saturday. It was a little windy, but I went out on the kayak for a couple of hours anyway. And I had been warned what was going to happen, but I did not realize the scale of what ended up happening, which is a bunch of people who are real fond of President Trump.
Yeah, that's
getting on their boats and just making a lot of wake on the eastern end of Lake Sakakawea. And I'm sure at other parts of Lake Sakakawea, this is a thing that was happening all over the country.
Sure.
Is people getting on their boats and showing their support for the president for some reason.
Is there some sort of a motif there? I don't understand.
I think it's because they would not be allowed to hold a parade because of COVID.
No one can stop on their boats.
Yeah, no one can stop you when you're on a boat. That's the law. You're on a boat, you can do anything you want.
Cool, let's go to Canada.
Yeah. Well, as long as you stay on your boat. You go to Canada, you get in the water, go get into Canadian waters, sail up a river, they can't stop you.
That's not true.
No,
that's 100% not true.
Listeners, if you have a boat, I want you to get on the boat. Get on your boat. Drive it up to Canada. Right?
Well,
if you're nearby a river that flows into Canada, go up into there. If you're listening in Minot, North Dakota,
go up to Lake Metagoshi.
Get on the Souris, and get out and stop like 15 times, and put your boat on your shoulders because there's like 40 low-level dams.
Yeah.
But do that until you get to Canada, or if you're in Fargo,
right,
in the Red River, just go up that shit.
Sure. It flows up. It's one of the few rivers that flows north. Yeah. You can actually go with the flow into Canada.
Go to Canada. Just stay in your boat. They can't do shit. That's a fact.
bullets evaporate over water.
Boys, as your lawyer, I have to, excuse me, hi, my name's Jeffrey Piddlestein. And why did I name him Stein? Now it's racist. Anyway.
It's Piddlestein. I mean, it's...
I have to say, what these boys are saying is a joke, and you should not trespass into other countries on your boats. Okay, bye. Ooh. Hey, our lawyer showed up.
Wow, that weird racist trope you made up is...
I'm an awful person.
Took up a moment of our time.
Yeah. I don't know why. I immediately went for that. Oh, boy. In any event, they were making a lot of waves. It was annoying. I don't know who it was for. I guess it was for each other.
Sure.
In sort of the political equivalent of a bunch of people standing in a line and jerking each other off. Because it's like, who are you demonstrating your support to? Me? Mm-hmm. The one person in central North Dakota that disagrees with you? Or at least the one person in central North Dakota that is also on the water right now and watching. And I guess there were other people on kayaks too, sure. And I imagine they were annoyed.
Yeah.
But it's like I got back to shore and I could hardly get out of my kayak because I was getting hit by the waves so hard.
And this is what happened in Texas. I mean, you realize
the waves were so strong that like 5 boats sunk.
Right. And people were blaming it on terrorists. People were saying it was a terrorist attack.
They don't know how you own a boat. You don't know how waves work.
Right. And it's just a whole lot of people who don't understand rules or the fact that there are other people.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. And on one hand, because I was thinking about this the other day, is once you say like, oh, you're being so inconsiderate, that opens it up for them to be like, yeah, well, you're for all the protests and everything. That's super inconsiderate. It's like there's a difference between you unnecessarily showing your support for a moron who sits in an Oval Office and people demonstrating their displeasure with the fact that police officers seem to target them and specifically enact violence on them for no reason other than that they are black. There's a big difference between the two of those things and the inconveniences they cause.
Yeah. I don't know. We could do this for hours, but
yeah, we could. I don't have the energy for that. That's my biggest thing with all of this is just like, I don't have the energy to have debates or discussions anymore. I want it to be November. I want to put in my vote and whatever happens, happens. And I guess we all have to live with that. I just want something to change. Either it gets better or we all die. Can we have one or the other? Can things either get better or can we just skip straight to the apocalypse?
I'm really 50-50 on this. I mean,
like things can either get better or let's just set off the nukes.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just get it over with. Come on.
Well, we need 2 guys with keys. Find them. You know what I mean?
Who are the keys? Who's got the keys? Let's find them.
Yeah.
This is the plot of a movie in the 80s. You got to find the people with the keys. You got to kidnap them.
Right.
And then they're going to send Kurt Russell with an eye patch after you. That's not the plot of Escape from New York. No. But this is the plot of the next Metal Gear game.
Sure.
That's never going to be made because Kojima does not work for the company that unfortunately owns the rights to his series.
Sure. I said what we do is we all just send pictures of our ass to Kim Jong-un. I mean,
how are they going to get there?
I don't know.
How are the pictures going to get to Kim Jong-un?
Email?
Yeah, let's all email
Kim
the
Jong-un.
official North Korean government email address. Pictures of our ass.
We're only going to stop sending you pictures of our ass if you send nuclear weapons.
Let's just spam him with goatsy pictures. You know what goatsy is, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people don't know about goatsy.
Google it.
Hi, it's the boys' lawyer again. Just wanna say, don't. I mean, this isn't really a legal thing. I don't think we could get in trouble for this, but don't Google that. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Piddlestein Esquire. Thank you.
That's right. He can append Esquire to the end of his name.
And here's the funny thing is, Jay Davis looked that up a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Did you know what the truth of that is?
What is it?
Anybody can put Esquire.
It's just a thing. It's just that lawyers tend to do it.
Right, lawyers tend to do it. That's why Jay Davis has been known off and on
as Jay Davis Esquire.
Yeah,
that's great. That's amazing. I mean, it could be ACE.
Yeah.
How easy is it to get into the I presume academy, or is it association
of cinema
editors? How easy is that?
I don't know.
Do you think?
Hey, you got to send a picture of you cutting film to someone.
Yeah. So you have to be physically cutting film, even though that's how nobody does that anymore.
I wonder if they still teach that. If you go to film school, they say, well, you got to take film splicing class.
I have to wonder. Well, here's something that I'm thinking about, because like Christopher Nolan films all of his movies on film.
Sure.
But like I imagine it's Dark Knight, notable use
Super 8
cinematography. But like there has to be. I imagine you shoot on film and then you digitize for the editing process, right?
Maybe.
Like I cannot imagine that the movies are edited physically
with a razor blade and some tape.
I feel like this is something I have to look up. There's other things that I don't feel like looking up. This is something I have to look up.
Okay, and here's my question. I know you almost got a broadcasting degree.
Yep.
I know you took broadcasting classes.
Yes.
Did they teach you tape editing?
No.
They didn't teach you any tape editing?
No.
So none of that.
I mean,
not even tape editing.
Yeah, no, they didn't teach us how to edit on. We had a bunch of cameras that used DV tapes, but the thing about a DV tape is it's meant to be converted to digital
video. Yeah.
It's
not even converted to digital. It just is digital.
It's a physical tape with a reel in it.
Yeah.
But
it's digital information.
Yeah, it's not it's not like it's a SD card or anything. It's
right.
It's still a physical tape you put in the camera, but it is computerized. But we did have to convert using like a Sony. Our converter was a Sony Handycam with the world's most sensitive length of firewire running from it to an absolutely ancient computer. So it would drop frames constantly. And when you drop frames, it also just cancels the video capture.
Sure.
So depending upon how much footage you need to capture from this tape, you might have just lost like a half hour of capturing.
Yeah.
Because
it's not tape yet.
Because something jostled and there it goes. Bye. By the time I was done with school, we were pretty much exclusively using the Sony cameras that had SD cards
on board, right? Yeah,
on board, because that's so much more convenient. So much more. All right, I'm looking at the page for The Dark Knight. Filming. Filmed on standard 35 millimeter film.
35 millimeter.
Yes.
Really? I would have thought 70, but yeah.
Oh, I think that's sort of been the thing that Nolan has done is progressively more and more of his movies make use of 70. Let's see. Yeah, there are certain scenes where he does 70 millimeter. The 35, a lot of the 35 millimeter scenes are IMAX cameras, though.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So that makes a big difference. But there is certain scenes use 70 millimeter. Is there anything in here about the editing? I don't know. Music, marketing. Yeah, it doesn't. If there is something about the editing, I would spend way too much time trying to find it.
Sure. I just remember when I was in broadcast school, when I took TV production, it was 3/4 inch tapes.
Oh boy.
That's what I learned to edit. I edited commercials on it.
Well, and when especially for broadcast too, because I know kind of vaguely when digital became like more of a standard for film.
Yeah.
But when did like digital editing become a standard for broadcast?
I feel like in larger markets, way before it did here.
Probably.
Yeah, because I still remember a guy named Craig who was editing off of beta tapes.
Oh boy!
This is around just after you were born. I was working evenings, and he was the evening editor. And it was funny because it was set up with these beta machines and the graphic machines. He would have to hit play on one thing and record on another thing.
Yep.
Almost simultaneously. Unfortunately, they were across the room from one another.
Oh no!
So he had on this wall a giant pillow that was taped to the wall, and he would hit play, and he would take a full head of steam at the wall and hit record on the other thing. So you always knew when Craig was editing. We sit there and mix it here. Oh, Craig's making a commercial.
I can't.
That's no shit. That's in the old KX building.
Oh my God.
That Craig had to do that.
That is so fucking crazy. Well, and it's interesting to me too, because like broadcast studios these days probably have, especially in smaller markets, probably staff one editor, if that. Right. Because if reporters are not really reporters anymore, they are the term I believe is multimedia reporter or something like that. Yeah.
They do camera work, they do editing,
they do their
writing.
Do their own camera, writing, editing, everything.
Craft
because
services.
Editing especially has become much, much easier than it used to be. Mm-hmm. So you just do that on your own.
Especially news editing. I mean, if you're doing something that's like a creative blah-de-blah, then that takes a lot of time. Yes. If you're doing a news story, it's chop, 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 chop with some CGs. There it is.
It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's easy enough to just have the reporters do that on their own time versus keeping editors. Like, I don't know if, well, I mean, KX and Minot has kind of been reduced in many capacities over the last few years, but I don't know if they have a dedicated filmographer anymore. Now that Galen retired.
Galen is retired.
I don't know if they have a photog, a dedicated photographer or filmographer.
Not for news. They do for commercial production.
Yeah, and that's kind of a different wheelhouse, I guess. But like
that's where I really was. That's where I was.
But Galen was, I had a couple of classmates that worked at KX. And there was always basically a mad scramble to see who could get Galen for the day.
Because Galen is pure entertainment.
He's pure entertainment and also a really good videographer.
Oh well, yeah, there's that.
He's a very good videographer and a very entertaining person.
He's had some missteps, some big missteps, some awesome missteps, but like right after 9/11, he put together like a package. It was very heartfelt, and he used the song Superman by Five for Fighting.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to fly.
Oh no.
It's all these people jumping out of a building.
Oh no.
Galen, just a little critique here. One friend
to another.
Yeah.
Do we think that's
maybe choose different music? Good, great sounding music, but
the tone. I mean, the tone of the instrumental.
Yeah,
but the lyrics.
The lyrics is
yeah. That's funny though.
Yeah.
Kind of funny anyway. You finished Legend of Korra.
I did. I finished Legend of Korra. It was great. I loved it.
It's a good show.
We started to watch.
What'd you start to
Last
watch?
Airbender again. But
you just went back to watching The Last Airbender.
And then after the family goes to bed, I pull out The Boys, and I'm trying to get I'm talking about the show.
Yeah.
Pull out the boys. Time to pull out the boys. But yeah, try to watch that again because the new season starts.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it piecemeal.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I have meant to start watching the new season, but then a friend of mine told me there's only 3 episodes out right now.
Oh, really? They're out already?
I think so. Unless maybe he was just talking about how they were. I don't think he said right now.
Oh.
I think he might have been remarking that Amazon announced they were only going to be releasing a number of episodes at a time instead of all of them.
Like every Friday, a new episode.
Yeah. If whatever the case may be, I think I'm going to wait until they're all done because I'm probably going to watch them all at once.
Why would you just watch them when they come out?
Because I don't want to.
See, that's how I grew up watching TV like that.
I mean, so did I. I didn't have my own digital streaming services until I was 18. So
I'm going to come in from the weekend and I'm going to go, Kale, You're never going to believe what happened in season 2 of The Boys.
And maybe you'll actually scoop me for once, and I'll have watched a thing before I have.
That was just weird how they killed Homelander and immediately.
Instantly, he's just instantly dead.
Crazy.
They figured out his weakness. It was water. Which is super weird because there are scenes from season 1 where he's definitely like flying through clouds, and those are made of water.
Can't believe he was killed by the deep. Sorry, man. Sorry.
I almost choked on my beer. I'm just imagining the deep, like summoning a bunch of dolphins or something. And because it's the boys, and also because of the deep's typical relationship with dolphins, and also dolphins just kind of being horrible rapists. Yeah. You know where this is going.
Yeah. All right, but if I come back there and touch it, will you just shut up?
that poor dolphin. This is us talking about things that might not make any sense.
No, if you haven't seen the show,
so
it's a great show.
It's a good show.
It's a superhero show. Don't watch it with the kids.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it either. Here's my advertisement for The Boys season 1. And this is what I say to anyone who is unsure about watching the show.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a man getting his head crushed while eating ass? If you think that is funny or like gross, but in like kind of a cool way, or like it's a shocking moment, like it's a Game of Thrones style shocking moment of like, oh, that's so nasty and gross, but the show's so good. If that's how you're thinking about it, it's for you. If you think it's disgusting and horrible and you'd never want to see anything like that, then don't watch the show, because things much worse than that happen.
Yes, but you have to explain though that actually turns into a plot point.
It's an important part of the plot.
Yeah, it's not just to gross you out. It's well shit. Well, this happened. And
this is a thing that happened, and now we got to deal with the fallout.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my advertisement for The Boys. We should get talking about Caspian. So,
absolutely.
It's a non-metal month, so I figured we could go. This is my opportunity to bring some
post-rock.
Some post-rock. Yeah. This is a post-rock band. There are a couple of songs that they have. A couple of songs on almost every album. Verge on post-metal. You know, something more like you would hear in a band like Pelican, or like ISIS or something like that. The unfortunately named ISIS.
Did they do that after ISIS was
ISIS has been around for a long. The band ISIS has been around for much longer, at least since like the late 90s.
My friend Jacole's wiener dog was named ISIS.
Oh, poor wiener dog.
Yeah.
But it's more on that side of things and less on like the sludgy neurosis side of post metal. Although post metal and post rock are really kind of very nebulous terms for things that are slower and don't fit in other categories.
Yeah, you really, when you say post rock or post metal, you're just saying what it's not rather than what it is.
It's instrumental. They're like post rock. The way I would describe it is it generally has an instrumental focus, and the band is made up of all of the same core members that you would think of in a rock band. You've probably got 2 guitarists, a drummer, a bassist, and maybe a keyboardist.
Sure.
And
a zither.
Yeah, and vocals spread between, if there are vocals. At all. But they're not playing music that typically fits within what we would think of this as the structure of a rock song. It's much more instrumental. It's much more like something you would hear on a soundtrack. And indeed, there are a number of post-rock bands who have gone on to be successful as musicians making soundtracks for films. Explosions in the Sky has done a ton of soundtracks for movies. But my favorite one of theirs that they did was for Lone Survivor. Which I enjoy that movie, even if it is maybe a little bit more charitable to a lot of the elements than perhaps it should be. I don't know. There's sort of, people have said on the internet, and again, this is the internet, so who knows, that maybe there are some holes in that story, generally speaking, but who knows? I wasn't there. Anyway, they did a soundtrack for that movie, and the soundtrack was good.
Sure.
And the movie, at the very least, as it is a decent movie.
It exists, yes.
It is a decent movie. In any case, Caspian is a post-rock band. They're from Beverly, Massachusetts, and they formed up in 2003. They were kind of loosely formed in 2003 and started recording stuff in 2004 and did some shows throughout the year. And by the end of 2005, they were touring in support of some other post-rock bands, notably one of them listed on the Wikipedia page here is Mono, which is a Japanese post-rock band that I've listened to a couple of times. I need to get more into Mono. I like them. I just haven't taken time to really listen to them.
Right.
They have one of my favorite pictures to look at is their lead guitarist and occasionally vocalist. Her pedal board is just fucking insane.
That's a post-rock band right there.
Post-rock pedal boards are probably close to gaining self-awareness at this point. Yeah, so they've released a whole bunch of studio albums up till this point. How many studio albums?
This was on Circles, by the way.
Yeah, the album we're talking about is On Circles. I mean, it's the title of the episode. They know.
Sure.
So studio albums is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then there's been a whole bunch of other releases being EPs and live recordings and quite a large number of EPs, actually. Some of which are kind of edging closer to being full-length albums. Although I believe Hymn for the Greatest Generation includes a number of remixes that are really good, but I think that's part of why it's not considered a full-length album, is half the album is remixes.
Sure.
But their other albums, The Four Trees, Tertia, Waking Season, and then in 2015, the album that I think is really important for me as far as listening to them was Dust and Disquiet. Which was kind of a big, I think, sort of turning point for the band, where Waking Season was a little bit more in this direction as well. But their early work is very, very much oh, these guys listen to Explosions in the Sky and we're we're going to do that. And that was just the entirety of post-rock in the early to mid 2000s was everybody was trying to do the Explosions in the Sky thing of we're going to have these twinkly guitars and eventually we're going to lead up to this big crescendo. And a lot of that is very, some of it is more compelling than others. That's not a correct sentence, but there's some bits of it.
We get you.
Some bits are better than other bits. But Caspian kind of grew into, especially with Dust and Disquiet, kind of I don't know exactly how to describe their sound. More pensive, a bit less saccharine than a lot of the Explosions in the Sky stuff.
Yeah, there's sometimes that's not quite. I mean, they vary. Not quite as pensive.
They do vary,
but it does get down there into that.
Instead of being just overly sweet, like certain Explosions in the Sky bands and parts of their own Explosions in the Sky's own discography is you kind of, to me, I have to be in a mood. If I'm in the wrong mood, I'm this is too sweet right now. They, with their last two albums, have kind of taken on a much more bittersweet sort of sound, alternating between stuff that is more on the lighthearted and sweet side, and then stuff that is also much heavier than anything that would have come in the previous parts of their discography. And like I said, there are a couple songs on this album that verge on being post-metal, and there were certainly songs on Dust and Disquiet that were very much in the same boat. There were less heavy songs on this one than on Dust and Disquiet, but I think the heavy song that is on this one is heavier than any of the songs on Dust and Disquiet. Okay. So they concentrated more heavy into one song instead of less heavy into several songs.
Giving the full piece a greater dynamic.
Yes. Yeah, it's our favorite word.
The D word.
The D word. And this is indeed, I think, a very dynamic album. Wild Blood, I think, is a really neat way to open the album because there's flute and then
The
there's
saxophone.
very distant and off in the back. Like if you're listening with headphones on, like it feels like it's behind your head. The saxophone is off behind you somewhere, just being kind of vaguely sexy and playful. And things build up. These guys, more than anybody, I think, in the post-rock game are the masters of the crescendo. They know exactly how to build up and release, or sometimes not release, and have just really blue ball in your ears. There is a song, I believe it's, I want to say it's Ansra, which feels like it's building up to this big, crescendo, and then it just stops. And it's maybe it wasn't Ansra,
No.
maybe it was Ishmael. I don't remember.
The second to last song is Ishmael.
It's maybe it. No. It is Ansra, because it stopped. Like it feel like it's gonna build up and build up and build up and release, and then it stops, and then it goes into Collapser, which is the heaviest song on the album.
Right.
That's how I remember what song is what here. Is like, oh, this is the one that leads into the super heavy one.
Right, because I mean, there are no like vocal themes really. The lyrics are about this. I mean, I guess there are two songs on here.
There are two songs, which is new for Caspian.
Sure.
Setting a record for Caspian. There was a song on Dust and Disquiet called Run Dry, which featured had a featured vocalist from a band called, I actually don't recall what the and there's not a specific Wikipedia page. There was a featured vocalist from a friend of the band who's in a different band. They seem to have a lot of friends in like post-hardcore bands.
Sure.
The first song with vocals on this is called Nostalgist, which features
Kyle Durfee.
A vocalist called Kyle Durfee, who is in a band. Let me just I have the internet, so
Sure.
I have the power of the internet on my side.
I could just ask Siri.
He's on a band called Pianos Become Teeth.
Oh, Pianos Become Teeth.
And
I understand. Oh my God, I just heard the story. Pianos Become, dude, I was sitting there playing the piano. I ate a whole 10 strip of acid. Oh shit.
I mean, they call it Tinkle in the Ivories.
Yeah, really doing. They tried to eat my fucking fingers.
No. But that song is sort of kind of a bittersweet, sort of vaguely romantic kind of, but on the end of like on the end of a I don't know how to. It's romantic, but it's bittersweet in the sense that this is clearly about some sort of relationship that is in the past.
Sure.
This is not ongoing. This is something that has ended. It's over, and nobody's angry anymore. There's just this sense of ennui, perhaps. I don't know, but I really enjoy that song. There's a weird sort of motif in both the songs with vocals in them that seems to have something to do with the Olympics, which is funny because those were supposed to happen this year.
Sure.
Those were supposed to happen this year, and this album came out in January.
Yeah.
Before there were any sort of any indications globally that maybe we're not going to be able to do things for the rest of the year.
Right.
But there seems to be some like hints to like mentions of Olympic rings in Nostalgic or in Nostalgist, and also mention of like bronze medals in Circles on Circles. They're talking about us, bro. There's sort of this vague hint of like, are they talking about the Olympics somehow? Or are they using the Olympics as a metaphor for something? I don't know. It's just, it's pretty and it's nice.
Yeah. The vocals on this are great. All the singing on here is very, very well done.
So the closing track called Circles on Circles is the first time in Caspian's history that the members of the band have sung through a song.
Sure. All the way front to back.
Yeah. There was one
acoustic
song.
It's very light and acoustic.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was one song on Dustin Disquiet that I believe the bassist provided some vocals for, but that was in like the breakdown of that song. It was a heavier song and they were kind of yelled or screamed vocals. But it was just a little bit in that part. Whereas on this one, it was Philip Jameson, who's the sort of the key member of the band, the core, one of the driving forces. He's guitar, keyboards, and synth.
And Irish whiskey.
Yep. All right. It's not Jameson. It's Jameson, actually.
Never mind. Fraud.
Yep. But you also have... So the members of the band we haven't talked about. So we got Philip Jameson, Calvin Joss on guitar and pedal steel guitar, because there are times in their discography where they do pull out a pedal steel. We got Eric Burke Moran on guitar, Johnny Ashburn also on guitar. They have 4 guitarists.
I can see that.
Yanni Zubkovs on bass guitar and Justin Forrest on drums. This was Justin's first album with the band, replacing Joe Vickers, who was with them from the time they formed up until 2018, who departed, I believe, to take care of his family. He had recently had a kid and was like, well, love you guys, but gotta go do this now.
Gotta go work at Cinnabon.
I hope not.
No, I hope
he
not.
seemed like a cool guy. I've watched a lot of live performances, and Joe seemed like a pretty cool dude.
Although Cinnabon's pretty...
I mean, Cinnabon, I'm not saying that cool people can't work at Cinnabon or that cool people don't work in fast food.
You're just hoping he continued his art.
I'm hoping he continues doing something that he really enjoys and making things he enjoys.
Right, making things like very large pastries with the white... goo on them
with white cum on them.
Yeah, exactly.
With sweet semen.
Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Minor, North Dakota, sweet semen.
Was that who was I talking to where I was trying to determine? Oh, I think the other day I was helping a friend of mine make a Star Wars D20 character. And we got into a very lengthy discussion about the origin of the word jizz. Because in Star Wars, the music they play at the cantina is called jizz wailing.
Jizz music,
and so we were talking about how likely it was that George Lucas was aware in 1977 that jizz was slang for semen. And we figured out that jism... What jism was originally a word describing someone's vitality.
Sure,
like
you got a lot of jism in you.
That person's got a lot of jism. You'd be describing someone that's healthy and young and vibrant.
Someone who's got a lot of spunk.
Yeah, very much in that vein. But by the late 1800s, it was already being used to describe semen.
Yeah.
But that was jism. That was not jizz. But one can imagine that jizz
had to have been very quickly
afterwards.
Yeah.
But I don't know how commonplace that was. So I don't know if George Lucas was aware, or here's what I think happened.
Yeah.
I think it was 1977. They were filming that movie and it was such a mess. Like the filming of the original Star Wars was a disaster.
If it had been put together the way George wanted it to be put together, you would not have heard of it.
It would have been awful.
Obscure and gone forever.
Instead, his wife came in and said, "Okay, honey, I'm going to fix your movie." And we got Star Wars out of it. And that's also why George didn't direct the other two and didn't direct a Star Wars movie until 1999. He was pretty heavy-handed in it, but I mean... he was important part of the process in all of them. But in any case, I feel, the movies were such a disaster. He's freaking out. He's so stressed out. And someone like a script supervisor comes up to him and says, "Hey, George, I see in the script and in the screenplay, you call the music in the cantina jazz, but like that doesn't seem like a very science fiction-y sort of thing. Do we want to call it something different?" And another script supervisor comes up and was like, "Yeah, we were thinking about calling it jizz just as a joke." And George, who was not paying attention at all, worrying, like he was worrying that Anthony Daniels just had another heat stroke. It was just like, "Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Don't worry about it." And that's how we got jizz as a part of the Star Wars universe.
But the other story I have in my head is that he thought jizz because it sounds like jazz, and people around him I think even at that point, he was so far up his own ass that...
or he had a dictionary.
You know what? Never mind.
He had a dictionary on hand, or perhaps a thesaurus or something like that, and was like, I want to call it jizz. Let's just see what that says on the dictionary. Oh, it says it's energetic. And okay, well, sure. That's this music. It's energetic. It's energetic, it's bouncy. Okay. But anyway, Caspian.
It comes in spurts, that kind of music.
So, we haven't really talked a lot of criteria so far. I guess I wasn't really thinking about that before we got started. I wouldn't say that this slaps. No, it's a post-rock.
It's not supposed to slap.
Yeah, I would say that Collapser gets close to slapping.
Yes,
because it's a heavy song. But I was looking at score. I believe Metacritic gave it 71, which I feel is a bit low. It's not as highly rated on Metacritic as Dust and Disquiet is, but a lot of the reviews that I took time to read were very positive. So I don't know if there were some outliers that I didn't read that brought the score down or brought the Metacritic score down. I think it deserves better. I've been listening to this a lot over the last couple of months, and in getting ready to listen to this, I also started re-listening more and more to the rest of Dust and Disquiet, which I hadn't listened to for a while. And God, that album's really fucking good. Both of these albums are
fantastic.
Kind of, I think both of them are kind of on the same level. I think Dust and Disquiet has aged really well and benefits a lot from repeat listens, and I think this one does too. There's so many flourishes, because if you watch a live performance of these guys, especially one that's like close up, where it's like a less of a performance and more of a recording, like the stuff you'd have at like KXP or something.
Oh, sure.
Where they have guys in the studio recording live on the radio.
Everybody's got headphones on.
The performances they do there, if you watch everybody and what they're doing throughout the course of each song, it's so intricate, the amount of loops that they set up, and Philip putting down the guitar for a second and going up to a keyboard and setting up a loop and then going back to the guitar. It's nuts.
It's a dance.
The amount. There is a song from one of their earlier albums. I think it might have been from Tertia or Four Trees. That I don't recall the name. I think it might have been Sycamore. But there's a song on one of their earlier albums that ends with every piece of the band slowly putting their instrument down. They stop playing their instrument and walk over to the drum kit and all start playing a different part of the drum kit alongside the drummer. And it's fucking awesome.
Nice. And
it's so, especially when you see it live, it is so impressive. It's one of my favorite things I've seen of these guys. But they do a lot of really great work. What's your favorite song on here?
The closing song.
I have to agree.
On Circles is great.
I very much have to agree with you. Circles on Circles, really good track. I love the way it ends. And by extension, the way the album ends, where all of the vocals throughout the track are just dripping in harmony.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous vocals from guys that do not sing very much. Beautiful vocals. And it doesn't sound like there's a ton of effects laid on them or anything. It's just, he's just a good singer. But it ends with everything else drops. All the instruments drop, and it's just Phil saying, "The shadow remains." It's singing it, but it's like the harmony dropped out, the instruments dropped out, and it's just such a weird, like, kind of down note to end an album like this on. That also just feels so fitting. I don't know. There's something about that I really, really like. I really like that. God, this album's good. It's a fucking good album. So what medal are we bestowing upon this, like Maskanata Chujubaka?
As far as post-rock and as far as anything like this is like fucking cream of the crop. Yeah, this is a gold.
This is some gold shit right here. It's hard. It's hard to go wrong with Caspian. And as far as post-rock stuff that has come out this year that I've managed to listen to, this is really good stuff, and it's very relaxing too.
And here's a weird thing. I'll give you, like, if someday maybe you'll have a family or something you like, and I had this in my headphones, and it was playing, and I don't remember which song it was, but it was blasting through my headphones.
Yeah.
And I looked out at my family milling about in the living room, and I almost got teary-eyed.
Because it was just like the perfect soundtrack of looking out and be like, yeah.
These are people I love doing stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling to be evoked from an album like this.
Yeah, that's gold material there.
Hell yeah. And you know me, I've mentioned so many times that I am a closeted emo kid.
Yeah.
Living in the body of a 24-year-old metalhead.
Right.
I
think you're closeted.
No, I am. Yeah. I'm an emo kid that doesn't listen to actual emo. I wouldn't call
some of the things that we call metal is just emo where they just turned it up a bit, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's a lot of metalcore.
Yeah, yes,
it's a lot of metalcore.
Yeah.
But in any case, if an album evokes any kind of emotional reaction from me, I'm immediately like, this is the best album ever.
I mean, even like, what was the album that I got for Christmas when he was on CD? It was called Strumming with the Devil. Mm-hmm. It was a whole bunch of bluegrass artists doing Van Halen songs.
Wow.
And there was this band I've never heard. I can't even Google them. They really don't exist, but they did Dance the Night Away, and just their version of it. Just I feel things back in my throat.
I feel things.
Watching my wife dance to it with my daughter in the living room and the tinsel up in the tree. I
didn't sign up to feel these things.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up to go on a fields trip. I thought I was supposed to ask my mom.
I needed parental permission.
No, my mom needed to sign a permission slip for this fields trip. Yeah. No, this is good stuff. Go listen to this. Listen to Caspian.
Yes.
Have a good time.
Look at their whole catalog.
Relax. Go sit and look at something you love while listening to Caspian, and you'll probably be having a good time.
Yeah, you might love them more.
You might love them. Caspian, it'll make you love your family more. What more ringing endorsement could we give?
Dude, let's go on Twitter. Let's
hashtag Caspian will make you love your family more. That's a really wordy hashtag. Yeah. All right. So next week, what are you thinking for your next go at a non-metal month?
Because the thing is, we've kind of,
because last week you really you did a thing last week.
And I've noticed a lot of your stuff has the feels.
Yeah, and that's what I bring to non-metal months is I try to make you cry.
It's like a tug of war. I feel
bring the fun, I bring the feels.
Yeah. That works. That's why we're such a good team there.
Yes.
So next week, it's not metal. It's close to metal. Okay. A lot of metal bands love them. And in fact, one great metal band.
I know what this is. This is a Primus album.
This is going to be Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Let's listen to Sailing the Seas of Cheese.
All right.
For next week.
Fun and weird. It's Primus. I'm ready for it.
Second full-length album. Yeah.
I'm ready. Although I've heard many people say that Primus sucks.
You mean Primus? Primus is the one who says Primus sucks.
That is a little in-joke for anybody who doesn't know anything about Primus, is that that was their slogan for a while.
I've seen them twice.
Primus sucks.
Yeah. They did an album, I think. No, they didn't. Yeah, they'd Suck on This. They had Suck on This was the name of the album.
All right.
Yeah.
So next week, what again? What was the name of the album?
Sailing the Seas of Cheese. It's the album with Jerry, who's the race car driver. Tommy the Cat. It's got a lot of the big early greats from Primus.
These are words that you're saying at me.
You'll understand them.
I have no context. Next week, Sailing the Seas of Cheese by Primus.
Yeah.
For a non-metal month. And I think after that, I know what I want my last one to be. Yeah. It's technically a double album.
A double album, really?
It's a two-parter. Which is the two Acoustic Wonder Years albums that have come out that I'm going to make you listen to and try to make you cry. So there we go.
Challenge accepted.
All right. So that's what's coming up here. Till any of that happens, check out our social media pages. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Give us a follow there. We don't really post anything other than links to episodes. No. So if you want to listen on your browser, that's an easy way to get notifications. I think if you subscribe on our Libsyn browser page, you maybe can get like emails. I don't know if that's a thing that's been set up there.
I love it. It comes up on my subscriptions on YouTube, and it's all these videos that say, 1,000 views, 100 views, million views.
One view.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you can listen in browser on Libsyn instead if you
or on your
prefer.
You're in
on your mobile device,
your iPhone.
Or, your iPhone. Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on the podcast source, which is Libsyn's app, and I'm sure we could get on other things if I wanted to pay more money, but I don't. So
no.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
And tonight we have cans. Yeah. So clink.
Oh, there's something at the top of that one.
You fucking.
I didn't mean to.
We didn't say congratulations either.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. Clink.
All right.